What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And this one, I'm going to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar and some news involving Tesla that just came out. But before I break anything down, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Weeble link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Weeble and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 6 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks plus 6 months of level 2 data. And put in $25,000 or more, and you're guaranteed 70 free stocks plus 12 months of level 2 data. The offer ends in just 4 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. Looking at SPYs, things starting to retrace a bit, but we're currently testing our 5-minute 200 EMA. That's going to be a very important support, and we'll see if this holds, at least for the time being. On top of all of this, the market's pulling back just a bit. I did talk about this as one of the possibilities before a possible bounce, but we'll see if the bounce comes, especially going into tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow we have quadruple witching. We have millions and millions of puts expiring, almost 5 million SPY puts expiring, just under like 2 million SPY calls. So we'll be watching to see if there's some kind of short squeeze tomorrow, if we're getting ready for it, or if the market's going to do something that's even more ironic. So we'll be watching for this. I also want to call out, start looking at some data. The data that came out for today was quite decent when it comes to initial jobless claims. The 4-week and the 8-week bill auctions were as expected, almost the same as the previous reports. And there was nothing new except for the fact that the mortgage data was basically a little bit higher when it came to the 15-year, but lower when it came to the 30-year, but nothing too crazy overall. For Friday, we have the PMI reports and nothing else that's too insane. As far as Tesla goes, we had some good news as they unveiled the Optimus Gen 2. There's more news involving the Sweden unions making more progress as Tesla's getting ready to make some kind of agreement. And that's pretty much it for now. I didn't see anything else that was that insane, but Tesla is still continuing to like pump and hold up very nicely amidst the very positive results that we got after the news about the Fed potentially cutting 3 times in 2024. So the question is, what's going to happen to Tesla? What do I predict is going to happen with these charts? Let's now break this down. So looking at Tesla, we're up 4.66%. I told everyone to expect a very explosive move to the upside. Tesla could just keep going to 250 by Friday. Instead, it happened as soon as today. So it was even stronger than what I initially expected. Pushed a little above 250, hitting 254, and happened even quicker. So very, very good stuff for Tesla. Tesla has support now at 250, and then we have 248.82 at the 5-minute 50 EMA. Below that's when we have these levels like 247 and such. And so far, Tesla has been holding up nicely. Now, this is also going to depend on the markets. The market is cooling off just a bit in a very healthy fashion. I think that tech has a little bit more cooling off to do. But if anything, we'll see if this is just like a very healthy little drop for the market to just prepare for a bigger launch tomorrow since we have quadruple witching or not. So I'll be breaking that down in just a few minutes. What's the bullish and bearish case for Tesla? So Tesla could retrace a little bit more and get very close to this like 248 area. area. It is possible it drops just a bit more. Then we'll see if this thing bounces, especially going into tomorrow, start pushing back up towards these wicks to make a nice bounce as the market could bounce. But at the same time, don't forget this, guys. As Tesla breaks down, we'll be watching to see if this thing comes back down below our support. So if it ends up losing like 247, watch it retrace towards like 245 to 244. Backtest our resistance trend line, this blue trend line, which is our resistance. Are we going to backtest it? And then do we get a big rejection, come back down towards 240? That's the more bearish case. So losing 247 would be bearish. If we manage to hold like around 248 or so, close to where this yellow trend line is, we could still remain bullish. That's like the bullish and bearish case. I think for the short term, Tesla is going to retrace just a little bit for today, and we will see if it bounces tomorrow. So there is a little bit pulling back coming. We're not basically in like super bearish territory, so don't turn too bearish, but we'll be watching this very, very carefully just to see. In terms of Nvidia is looking quite decent. Now, Nvidia has sold off a bit, but we're going to be watching to see where this thing bounces at. If we're bullish, you want to see it hold this like either 272 or 275. One of those should hold, and then we could see it try to retrace back up going into tomorrow to squeeze more shorts. Or does Nvidia end up collapsing? If we lose 472, watch it come all the way down to 468 and then retest the blue trend line. That's the more bearish case. We've been holding this blue trend line for quite a while. Losing that would be super bearish. I don't think Nvidia is going to do that. We will see if Nvidia tanks more towards like 466, then gets like a double bottom at the blue trend line to bounce, or if it just drops a little bit more and it holds this support around this range and before it gets like a little bounce. We will have to see which one it is. For now, Nvidia is looking a little weak. It could retest 475, but it's trying to base around this level, especially since we have the support right here. So we'll see if they're just trying to grab liquidity just to get this thing to bounce tomorrow or not. So watch that very carefully on Nvidia. For SPY, the QQQ, and Aapl, which are going to be the last three I go over for this quick intraday video update. SPY is looking a little bearish. We have two possibilities. SPY could, and I actually called out this level. I did delete my other line that I had where I just made the upside. That scenario did not play out, but I had this one drawn out from the beginning, this one, and I drew out a new one right here just to show you the bearish case. So what does this tell us? Okay, the bullish case is going to be that SPY comes down to 470. We retraced to 470 or so. We're very close to that range already. And then we get a very, very nice bounce going into tomorrow because of quadruple witching. As we have almost 5 million SPY puts expiring, we get a nice bounce and push up back towards where we were earlier today, maybe even above that. Do we get a big squeeze tomorrow, or does the market just sell off more? Do we end up failing? If we lose 470 and we fail to hold it, we come back down to 468 and we just kind of chomp between 468 and 470 and we just continue to sell off. I would turn bearish in that case. If the market bounces, if SPY bounces off 470, we just continue to hold it, I could turn bullish. I think we could bounce for tomorrow. 470 is going to be key. We will see if SPY holds this going into tomorrow or not. Let's just be patient and wait. For now, it is looking a bit more bearish. It could retrace a bit more towards 470. For now, just watch it. And don't forget to watch the 5-minute 200 EMA support. We're just barely holding this for the time being at this 200 EMA level. So watch that carefully and we'll see how it goes. With that being said, that's it for SPY. Now let's talk about the QQQ before I end the video by talking about Aapl. For the triple Q, okay? I talked about how this thing could drop back down. I actually had it drawn out like this earlier, where the yellow trend line was at this like 401.5 area. I did adjust this just a little bit. I did delete the bullish case, the like super bullish case. Now let's go over the possibilities. I think the QQQ could retrace and get very close to this 400 area and into like the 400s. It's like 400.5, 400.8. I could see that happening. But the question is, do we bounce and get back above this yellow trend line? Do we get back above 402 tomorrow? If we achieve that, I could turn bullish. I think it's going to start slowly uptrending if we get back above the yellow trend line. If we lose 400, if we fail to hold 400, especially for tomorrow, we could shop between 396.5 to 400, and that's going to likely turn a bit more bearish. So we'll see if that's the case or not. My gut is telling me that it could drop a little bit more. There's going to be more downside coming, but it is possible it tries to bounce later, and we need to see if we get the catalyst for that bounce. So with that being said, guys, watch and see how this thing reacts to 400. I think it could drop a little bit more, but we'll see if the bounce comes and if the buyers defend, especially to cause a squeeze for tomorrow. That's always a possibility. If it manages to bounce and get back above 402 after we hit 400, there's a good chance it could bounce. If it fails to hold 400, I would turn more bearish. As of right now, technicals do look kind of weak on the triple Q, at least for the time being. On Aapl is very close to 197, this range right here. We will see if this holds or not. If we lose that, watch 196.6, and then we have 196 flat. Then we have 195 below that. For resistance, we're going to be watching this imbalance towards 197. 0.75, and then above that you have 198.5. Then you have this yellow trend line at this 199 level, then 200 above that. So what do I think Apple's going to do? We'll be watching to see if this thing retraces just a bit more and if we see a pivot, because remember guys, right here, let's zoom in a little bit. Right here, this range right here, this is where Aapl got the breakout from. We broke out from right here. So typically when you test these breakout areas, you tend to see us like kind of chop here. And if we're going to bounce, we need to bounce around here. Otherwise, if we lose it, if we lose this breakout zone, we're going to be retracing towards 195. So we'll be watching to see, does Aapl do this? We come like this, we trade sideways, 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 and then we end up failing. Do we fail and come back down towards 195 like this if we get a failed breakout? Or do we retrace towards the chop zone like this, hold support nicely, hold it, and then get back above 197, and then start to try to fill some of these imbalances, especially for tomorrow? If that's the case, this could lead to like a squeeze tomorrow for shorts. It is still on the table. It's still very possible. It's still very probable we see a squeeze tomorrow. But just to be safe, guys, let's see what Apple does. I want to watch it first before making any claims like this. Let's see if support holds. With that being said, hopefully this video was helpful. Make sure you watch your levels very carefully and see how we move. Know that Tesla's looking relatively strong, which is a great piece of news finally. And we'll see how it goes later moving forward. All right. So that's it for this one. Have a great day, guys. Remain calm, cool, and collected. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Thank you and peace out.